Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at S Class Davie, who is going to be the next promo character coming to RTS. As we can see on the right hand side visually, he looks a lot like the 6-star version of Davie, the Lacerator character, and I'm guessing the majority of the upcoming S-Class characters that are going to be released are going to look a lot like characters we've seen before. Reused art, we saw that with Mackenzie, with just a couple of hearts thrown around, maybe some very small asset differences, but nothing too big when it comes to time investment in terms of making the characters look, stand out a bit more than they have in the past. He is basically going to be Valentine's themed again. This is the first character we've ever had as well, where it's a duplicate S-Class character. We've got two S-Class Davies, which is honestly a little bit of a surprise, but that's the way it's going to be. On the left-hand side, we can see him as we all see him, Davie, Crazy Davie with the big smile. As an S-Class character with 30 veteran rings, he has got 4,380 attack, 4,330 defense, and 3,581 HP. So he is fairly balanced. He is considered a support character, and he is of course alert, holding that little crossbow, and I think it pretty much looks like the same crossbow from the event right now. We'll see what kind of stats it has on it for the promo character a little later. First up, we'll look at the Adrenaline Rush, and it is called Broken Hearts. It's a 66 AP cost rush. Deal 3 attacks for 400% damage, which is 1200% total, to a single enemy. Up to 5 enemies get stunned for 2 turns. This character can rush extremely quickly on defense in the right setup, just because you can put him in teams that give AP and stuff. With 66 AP, that means he can rush extremely quickly. On attack, it's going to be the same sort of deal. He could potentially get a first turn command rush. You could maybe get him a natural first turn rush if you really wanted to, and just stun the defense team for 2 solid turns. And that's a lot of control. He has obviously got a lot of damage on top. His base attack isn't huge, but 1200% is nothing to be, sniffed at. But the control here is obviously devastating. So just to test this out, and just to show you how it works in terms of getting that rush going nice and quickly, we can get it to go off first turn with MJ because of the AP gain here. And we can just basically target whoever we want. We don't have to necessarily target Akira here, who would always be a good character to target with percentage damage, because he will get stunned because he is disarmed, so he's not going to be able to cleanse it. So I could target Mackenzie here, the new character, and we should be able to take her out, although she is going to block quite a lot of damage. She is an Outlast character, but because we have stunned her and all the rest of the team as well, she will get taken down just automatically, as you can see. And then everyone's stunned for the next turn. We could command Jeremiah here and just, try and take someone out quickly if we really wanted to. We'd obviously have another character to do some more damage. Camouflage is in the mix. We could maybe have someone who could take away Camouflage, Argus or Raven, and then obviously just nuke the team when everyone is stunned. So obviously extremely heavy control potential. I would mainly see this rush as being controlling. The damage can be nice. You can obviously make those individual hits crit, but damage you can get like that elsewhere. You can't really get control like that elsewhere. So I would focus on this character if you got him more as a controller rather than the damage dealer. He is considered a support character, but I would say that obviously this can work on defense and attack. That does obviously mean you can just build up his defense stats and use him on either team as you wish. Extremely powerful rush. 2 turns of stun, especially as a lot of people have gone away from stun resist, as it is not as much of a meta resist right now. Trauma and impair and even taunt, I would say, are more important right now than stun. So this character could have quite a lot of fun when it comes to controlling the enemies. Now, if we go across to the active skill, they've gone away from naming the actives back to just stuff that it does. It doesn't make too much sense to me. It says focus, def up, and max up. I guess the max up is meant to be AP up. It has an initial cooldown of turn 1, cooldown of 3, number of uses 5. This character gets focus and 100% defense for 3 turns, so obviously turns into a massive tank. and up to 5 teammates get 35% AP up. Now for me, that is more of a defense team active skill. Obviously turn 1 is extremely powerful. You know, he only needs to do 1 basic attack after that, I'm pretty sure, on a defense team, and he'll have his rush. As long as he's got the right AP on his weapon. Doesn't need to have AP from a leader. I don't think he needs to get AP from elsewhere. Because he's got 66 AP rush, he should be absolutely fine. Okay, so this time around, I've switched a couple of characters out. We put Davie on the defense team. I'm going to try and control Jesus here. Hallelujah. We do manage to control him. He's not going to be able to get that active off. And this is basically to see how much AP he gains. As you can see, heavy AP gain for a lot of characters. As you can see, Mackenzie here, it's got how much AP there? Like, that's got to be 69 out of 76. That would be like 8% weapon. Potentially would have got her rush, so she could have been commanded on the first turn, and that's just because of that active from Davie. You can see Davie was part of the characters that receives the AP from his own active. We're going to stack up the attacks here once more, and we're going to see if Davie gets enough AP himself from doing his basic attack and active. He isn't going to get enough. You can see in the top right hand corner it's 64 out of 66. But you can also see on his attached weapon it is a very large bonus to AP when attacking. So that means if you upgraded that to huge when attacking, it would be enough to get a second turn command rush or a third turn natural rush. So the AP gain just a little bit too low for Davie himself, or you could have an 8% weapon on defense teams as well. Don't forget, that could always be an option, and he would definitely have a fast enough rush. And then if you obviously commanded him turn 2 on defense, that means the entire attack team would be stunned for 2 turns, and things would just run riot. Anything like bleed based, infection based, that's giving it a 2-turn, like, basically freedom to have no one heal up that bleed, heal up that infection, cleanse anything. And then obviously that attack team's in a lot of trouble. Extremely powerful active, and can obviously be used in combination with other characters, like Maggie has AP gain on her active as well. So there are definitely some nice combos that you can have with this character. The fact that he gets a 100% defense boost is very helpful, considering his defense is not massive. It is just around the 4,000 mark, but this is going to be making him much harder to get taken down. Now you may have noticed that he has got a specialist skill, and it is Headhunter. If this character performs a critical hit on an enemy, the enemy gets crosshairs for 3 turns. Crosshairs means that if a character is taken down when they've got that debuff on them, they will be decapped. Unrevivable, 100% they are down for good, and that can be a nice little bonus. He can hit crits on his rush, so if you do gear him towards crit, he will obviously hit the crosshairs off this Headhunter a lot more often. So we're going to attack again. This is just to show you how crosshairs works. I can obviously hit this crit. I will get crosshairs on the enemy. I can follow up with some extra damage. We can obviously get some AP in the hands of Jeremiah here. He will take out Nick on defense, and because he had crosshairs on him, you can see he is now decapped and cannot be revived. This will happen to any character that Davie crits, and obviously where they don't resist. Resist mods can come into play, and so can specialist skills that stop characters from getting crosshairs, for instance resilience. However, what makes Headhunter quite useful, especially within Davie's kit, is he can hit crits on that rush like I said before, and if he hits a crit on that rush, he can decap them himself. It works that way with characters like Heng Yen, who when you hit a crit on his rush or his basic attack, he can obviously decap just with that actual hit itself. So very powerful. Decaps are obviously great, especially in how the revives work right now. Revives are going to change in the future, so they aren't going to be as powerful, but still, decaps keeping characters down is always the best way to go. Even if revives are not going to be as powerful in the future, they are going to still be very, very annoying. Now this takes us across to Davie's weapon, and it is Davie's Heart Crossbow. It is quite a lot like the event crossbow that we see right now, but it has got 35% attack, a very large bonus to AP when attacking, self-healing, when taking down an enemy, a better chance to regain 100% HP and 50% defense for 1 turn. Now this of course is interesting. I don't think you can get the 3rd slot buff from crafting. I think that the 3rd slot is half of what you can get from crafting. I'm not 100% certain, where you can do, you know, self-healing, but I don't think you get the 50% defense on top. It is only a better chance, which is seen as around about 30 to 35%, but it has got quite high base stats on it as a 4-star weapon. It's got 35% attack and a very large bonus to AP when attacking. You could potentially change that to huge bonus and 45%, and then obviously make it a 5-star weapon, go for 1535, and then make it 55% on the attack. So this would generally be a higher base weapon than you could previously get. You'd only change it to a huge bonus to AP when attacking if you wanted your character to actually rush naturally turn 3 on defense or be commanded turn 2, which would be ideal, honestly. You did see in that test before, he was just a little bit AP low, and the difference between very large and huge is legitimately just the 2 that he requires. So that would be what you'd need to do. You'd need to upgrade that to huge if you wanted that to happen. Okay, so we're going to attack this extremely interesting defense team here. I'm going to defend with everybody except Davie, because he is the guy we want to rush with. We've got Mercer in here just to cleanse the bleed after taking 1 proc of it. We want to take 1 proc basically on purpose. We'll just line up some damage here on Mr. Lou. Doesn't matter if we take him out. He's out of the game. Now we're going to obviously cleanse the bleeds. We just wanted to take a bit of damage on Davie. Now I'll take out 3 of these characters, and we want to see if we basically heal up with Davie based on his weapon actually proccing. So 1 time's going to come in, and it did proc on the first time, and he got that health bonus and a 50% defense. As you can see, he's got a 50% defense bonus right now, and he's back up to full HP. The remaining alive characters, in this case the 1, is stunned, and that's just because of Davie's rush, of course. Now, of course, if you did want to use this guy on a defense team, I would recommend putting a stun weapon in his hands. Alert characters have a very good 3rd slot. You know, you've got focus stun, or even just the most basic stun weapon. Going into his hands will make him much more frustrating to deal with. He's not going to get the procs when it comes to self-healing, but I would say if you did use him on a defense team, it'd be mainly down to that stun. I think even on an attack team, it's mainly down to that stun. His attack could be boosted quite high. It doesn't start extremely high in the first place, but I think you could get up to, you know, 17 or 18,000. That's the kind of number I've seen Arav at, and they have around about the same attack stat. He can get slightly better. Actually, no, he's going to get around the same sort of attack stat that I can get on my Arav, which is around 55% on the weapon, and that's just because Arav doesn't need any AP gains on the weapon, but this guy will, but the attack stat starts already reasonably high, so it's an interesting weapon. The 3rd slot doesn't really help towards any takedown potential, but it is kind of nice to get a bit of sustain in there. It's not terrible. So that's S Class Davie, and I do think he kind of lives up to his role. He is definitely a support character. All round, he's going to make the battle a bit easier for your teammates. It's as simple as that. The stun coming in, the AP gain from the active, both of those 2 things are extremely powerful, and they affect everybody. When something affects everybody, it's always more powerful. When it affects all enemies or when it affects all teammates, you know it's going to be a very, very nice little bonus whenever it actually happens, because it's guaranteed to go to everybody who's alive, which is obviously much more powerful than to 3 or a line or to just like a random amount of enemies. That's why look at S Class Jesus. It's exactly the same idea. He impairs everybody for 2 turns, and that is extremely powerful. But at least you can do your basic attacks in those situations. At least you can do your actives. Davie, on the other hand, is a hard control. You can't do anything if you get stunned. And like I said previously, stun is just, there's not as much stun resist around right now. Especially, you know, at the higher tiers, I don't see stun resist pretty much at all. And I think this guy is going to have a little bit of fun because of that. If you do get your hands on this character, he is definitely going to be a good support character for your roster. That is the end of my preview of this character, guys. Do tell me what your thoughts are in the comments down below. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.